Okay, Assalamualaikum. Selamat sejahtera. So we are now in chapter 4, web security. The topic is type of security threat. So the content of this chapter is we're going to discuss about the hacking process, how the security attacks, comparing between passive and active attacks, various malicious program. We take a look at what is a trapdoor or backdoor, logic bomb, Trojan horse, a zombie, viruses, worms, how we want to do the countermeasures, and what is the meaning of DDoS or distributed denial of service or denial of service. Okay, our first discussion is how the hacking process is actually happen. We actually have this 5 phase from reconnaissance, scanning, gaining access, maintaining access, and clearing tracks. Okay, Renaissance, this is the first phase where the hacker tries to collect information about the target. It may include identifying the target, find out the target's IP addressing, maybe how networks, how the networks been configured, the DNS record, and any information that hackers can collect. Okay, that is the first phase. So it's actually like a scouting in battle or combat scenario. The reconnaissance means it's like a scouting where surveying or try to know the victims before they start attacking. So that is the first phase by collecting information. All right. So we look at the footprinting. Why footprinting is put under surveying or recognizing? The hackers will know the security posture of the network or the web, and then try to focus what type of tech that they want to use or they want to locate by using the attack area, and then build information database, collecting data, draw the network map, so how we want to access. Okay, that is the part one. We call it as the reconnaissance or scanning. Oh, sorry. The second part is scanning. So this is actually the phase include using a tools like port scanners, network mappers, sweepers, vulnerability scanners to scan data, and then hackers are now probably seeking any information that can help them to attack, such as computer names, IP addresses, user accounts. So basic information now can move to the next phase and begin to test the network for other possible of attacks. So the hacker decide to use a couple of method for this and to help map the network. For example, operating system that very convenience to use in hacking. It's like Kali Linux, Multigo, or maybe they find an email to connect to see what email server is being used. It's depend on how it's being planning to attack. Or maybe the hackers look for an automated email if possible, or based on the information gathered, that the hackers maybe decide to email human resource department and inquiry about a job posting, and then they try to find an open port as long as the hackers gain access. Okay. After scanning, after scanning, the phase three is to gain the access. In this phase, hackers design the blueprint of the network to target the help of data collected during the stage one and stage two. I mean, the phase one and phase two. The hacker has finished enumerating and scanning the network and now decide that they have some option to gain access to the network. For example, maybe hackers using a phishing technique. Okay, the hacker decide to play it safe and use simple phishing attack. Okay, we're going to discuss this in the social media. Reverse social engineering to gain access. The hacker decide to maybe infiltrate the IT department. Okay, they see that there have been some recent hires, or they are likely not up to speed on the procedures yet. A phishing email will be sent using the actual email address, using any numbers of option such as a phone application, website email, spoofing, and whatever it is that uh, can use to gain an access. There is some option such as reverse TCP/IP shell using meta exploit, but this one may be going to be filtered by spam filter, Google Calendar, something that have this vulnerabilities. Okay, okay, that the phase three, again access, and then once it's gain access, okay, one it is accessible, so the hackers now need to maintain the access. So in this also, the hackers need to secure the accessibility between hackers and the server or and the network, or whatever it think that the hackers try to attack. So they want to keep that access maybe for future exploitation, right? Or future attacks. Once the hackers own the system, they can use it. It is as a base to launch additional attacks. So they're not straight away attacking. They must have a good plan. So once they own the system, sometimes it's referred as a zombie system. We call it zombie system because the hackers is actually not have this belonging or properties of the network. So we call it as a zombie. Now that hackers has maybe multiple email account, that hackers begin to test the account and the domain, and then the hackers from this point creates a new administer account, a super user account for themselves based on the naming structure, and try to blend into that network or system. So maybe as a precaution, the hacker begins to look for an identity, sorry, to locate or to identify accounts that have not been used for a long time, for example. Maybe if created a new profile is going to be signaling to the administrator. But if you are using the existing account, so maybe at the network administrator cannot identify and realize that there's an intruder to already access the system. The hacker maybe assume that this account are likely either forgotten or not used, so they change the password and maybe change the privilege to administrator or a super user or whatever it is that have the full access to the system or to the network. So the hacker may also send out email to other users, maybe for securing possible access. So that means if the existing account is not used or is cannot use, maybe uh, there is an alternate email that can be used for future attack. So if they have this super user account or administrator account, or maybe IT department account, they are going to start with copying maybe all emails, appointment, contact, information, everything. They try have this information and gathering. Okay, that is the maintaining phase. So the last one is covering track. Okay, this try to erase any information about the intruder process. Okay, maybe the attacker change their MAC addresses and run the attacking machine through at least one or few VPN to help cover their identity, so that once it get caught, they cannot being tracked by administrator, the IP addresses, and the location of doing the attacking. Normally, they are not delivering a direct attack or any scanning technique that would be deemed create spiking data or noise in the network. So that means the traffic must be look decent so that it cannot be identified as a hacking process. Okay. Normally, once the access is gained and maybe the privilege already escalate or they have the privilege of administrator and super user, so the hacker need to cover their track. Then this include clearing out maybe send email, server logs, temporary file, or any information that can be used for auditing log by the real administrator. The hacker will also look for indication of the email provider alerting the user or possible unauthorized login under the account. All of these things, as long as it is will alerting the network administrator or security officer, must be cleaned up by the hackers. So that is the five phase, okay, of the hacking process. Okay, you can read all the information that I given in the slide PowerPoint, and try to write on your own the five phase in a simple or understandable process. It's involved a lots of techniques or stepwise, but the process is about the same. There is some information in the internet maybe, or an opinion about this process. Maybe they just split up a few steps and then use it as a attacking phase or the hacking process. All right.